Prophecy Walkers, how are you doing? Welcome back to another episode of us talking about divine union, unity consciousness, and why would we even bother walking that path? Well, let me tell you, it's all about love. It's all about connecting consciously your own human evolution when you do it together. This is what we do, and this is what we share with you. So before we go any further, click like and subscribe. And get on in there. Get on into our new community on the Prophecy Portal on Patreon. So, what are we talking about today? Dealing with control versus entering into the unknown. And we are always talking together about this because not only are we talking about divine union, which can happen doesn't matter if you're single or in a partnership, there's always a way in which we can always evolve to the next phase of creating that unity consciousness authentically within oneself and embarking on this incredible journey of love together. First of all, together with yourself. Then, if you're lucky enough to find a divine counterpart, we're the people to guide you. Anyway, so let's get into the subject. Tell me, what does it bring up for you when I talk about dealing with control versus entering into the unknown?
Okay, well, I'm a pro
I
on
know you
this,
are.
absolute
Yeah.
pro, because I had to heal it, and it is so big, and I am still healing it. I'm still healing it. Is the power of control versus surrendering to the unknown, aka love. Now, surrendering to love, I remember I've witnessed other men saying, "Oh, I don't like that word, surrender. It means giving up." No, it does not mean giving up. It means giving yourself over to love. That's what it means, giving yourself over. And when I started working with you, we embarked on a deep healing journey with plant medicine. And it was, I would like to say and own the fact that I think our medicine journey was extremely valuable for us meeting and doing this level of healing work. And I think it's revolutionary. I'd like to say that it's a revolution of love, and this is what we're bringing to Prophecy Walkers. I was shown the way with Hazel and work in a way that I could not fathom. No way. If I'd have not met Hazel, there's no way I would have encountered anything like what you and I did. No way. Not in a million years. And what I learned is, through my journey of wanting to be able to feel and open my heart, you kept asking me, can you feel it? And I was like, oh, come on, Hazel, feel what? Love. Love. What do you mean love? Why do you keep using that word? That could mean anything. Like, I'm love, so what can I feel myself? Yeah. No, I'm not so sure I can. And then she, every 5 minutes, it felt like every 5 minutes, but it was probably every few days. Can you feel that? And it's like, no, I can't feel that. And so we went on this journey of you teaching me how to feel that, but not like teaching me, just being a mentor of like, oh, you can you feel that? And I'm like, okay, this is getting really annoying now. Like, I told you I can't feel it. And so I had to keep leaning into this trigger of like, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, can't feel it. And there were many times where you taught me how to receive love, and that feeling love is receiving love. And receiving love can come through giving love as well, being in service. And I remember I was ignorant and unaware that I was already feeling love without feeling love. And I had to strip away all these illusions and attachments of what love felt like, but what it really came down to is that I was trying to control the outcome of love and what I wanted and expected from life. But what it came down to is I didn't realize is that I wanted to know who I was. I wanted to remember who I am. And you showed me that. You showed me some incredible things. You you showed me that it was all about that. It was all about remembering who we were on a soul level. And I remember when I witnessed you have an awakening, and your soul came in, and your name, and you started speaking this really incredible new voice vibration and language. And I remember when I first heard your voice, I was like, "Whoa, who are you? You're not Hazel." And you spoke your name, and I was like, "Whoa, wow!" And you'd completely changed. You'd even changed color. Your hair color changed. I was like, "Wow, what is this? Can I experience this?" And so we went on that journey, and remember you gave me this stone, and I was about to grab it from your hand, and you said, "No, I'm going to teach you how to receive." And so I closed my eyes. I was sat cross-legged, my eyes closed, and I put my hand out, and slowly, she really, really slowly, like this slow, she goes, "Just keep your eyes closed. I'm bringing this to you." And she so slowly, I could feel it coming towards me. And when it touched the skin on my hand, I became the stone. And it was the most profound thing I'd ever experienced. I became the stone. Like the stone was green, I became green, and I was inside the stone. And my everything I looked at, I was in the green. I was in the world of the green,
Mm.
and I was in my heart. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that that stone was part of me,
Mm.
and it helped me embody um, that awakening
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
energy into me.
yeah. So I'd just like to highlight, before we go any further, what you're actually talking about is you're talking about leaving the control of who you thought you were and surrendering deeply into the ceremony of life. And love is part of that,
The unknown,
the
yeah,
unknown, yeah. And working in a ceremonial way, which plant medicines
yeah,
assist,
yeah.
is and the way in which I learned how to do that was, I always say, you have to come forward to meet the medicine, and the medicine will come to you. It's always meeting in this place. There's no grasping for anything, and this is also with the essence of
Reverence.
love. Yeah,
You can't control the medicine.
yeah,
It's yeah. Telling this whole long story
yeah,
about control versus unknown,
yeah,
and it is about surrendering to the medicine of our own truth.
yeah. And
And
so the first example that you gave, because before you mentioned about the stone, you mentioned about you witnessed me when I had surrendered in a ceremony, and this other part of me came through. That was because I was ready to let go of those parts of the ego. And this is where, this is really interesting, is because how can you find those choice points to let go and surrender really your ego, leaving those parts of you
yeah, I
behind?
should be asking you questions because you're a pro at releasing control. You said something to me earlier today that blew my mind. You were like, "I know this is really uncomfortable, but you've just got to sit in the pain and sit through the fear and just not attach." And I was like, wow, that's really advanced.
Mm, yeah. And this is like what it is like, because we talk about how I taught you how to be in plant medicine ceremonies, right? This and to allow that to unfold and to really allow it to be part of your soul's evolutionary journey rather than just an experience. And
Yeah.
these are some of the
And
teachings
then I
in that.
became an absolute pro and expert at integration, right? I
Mm,
had to, because
yeah,
we were going through so much. I mean, we were intense. We were
yeah,
going really head first into healing ourselves and each other
yeah,
through whatever it took, right? We were
yeah,
passionate. We
yeah.
are passionate.
Yeah, and I think I want to say something like, because we're talking that, so the theme is we're talking about dealing with control and releasing control and going into the unknown. One of the things that when we first met, which was so profound, was actually we were in lockdown. So this is one of the most beautiful things, right? Is that when the whole world was in lockdown, locking everybody down, trying to control everybody,
We were
we
unlocking.
actually did the opposite. We
Yeah.
unlocked each other. We
Yeah.
are unlocking ourselves and unlocking each other. And I think because we did this journey when the whole world fell silent, we were able to, I want to say, catapult into the new paradigm. Because in that lockdown, we unlocked, we released control.
The words I'm hearing are, we penetrated the silence.
Mm,
The virus was the portal.
yeah.
We took it.
We shattered those illusions.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that we entered into the unknown together. And when you can enter into the unknown together, well, magic happens.
Well, it's an understatement, yeah. Because I found it, you taught me, but it took me a long time to understand when and how I was controlling you. And I see this between the aspect between men and women quite often, um, is my energy was just, is again, this comes back to our previous episode about sexualization, is that there was part of me that was, not all the time, but unknowingly, unconsciously sexualizing you because you're a woman.
Mm,
Not from like I wanted sex off you, but just because you were a woman, I was so used to sexualizing women, that women, yeah, that um, it was a form of control.
mm,
So that's huge,
mm-hmm,
right? And when you and I realized that, I remember we did this thing where we decided to be in our own energy for 3 weeks to destroy codependency, and it was really profound. And we the effects were incredible. It was amazing. But what I learned from that is that my energy was latching onto you because of my wounding, and vice versa, and we kept projecting onto people, like projecting onto each other. Sorry, that um, we weren't in each other's energy because we were so entangled, right? And so I found it really profound when all of a sudden I found a technique to bring my energy away from you and into me. And first, that started with spending um, my own time doing what I particularly wanted. Like, I started um, watching movies, sitting in ceremony of my ancestors, drawing, stuff like that, stuff that I didn't have time for because I wanted to spend time with you. And I got more deeply into exercise and stuff like that. And but then I remember my energy was sometimes, if I heard you or I spoke to you, my energy started to go towards you again. And I was like, oh no, how do I stop this? And so we went really uh, really devoted into trying to break this control that we had over each other. And I remember I was sat somewhere with you, or I might have been sat on my own. I think I was sat on my own. Yeah, I was having the workout, and I was listening to music, and I could feel my energy going. What's Hazel doing? What's Hazel doing? I was like, oh God, I got to stop this. I got to stop this. And so I just started meditating, and I said to myself, or myself said to me, is, what if you were the only person in the house right now? I was like, "Oh, okay." And then it went, what if you're the only person in this town? I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. what if you're the only person in the world? I was like, wow. And then it went, what if you're the only person? I was like, whoa. and then and then my
Oh,
control just completely disappeared.
wow.
And I realized this is how God feels. And it meant like I was alone, but I'm not alone. And I felt like there was no one else on the planet, but nature was still here. But I was still alone, and I felt so comfortable. And I thought, wow, that that really works.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Wow, what an example of breaking out of control.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, breaking out of control and entering into the unknown. But not only that, is that when you do go through the unknown, which is what happens in spiritual awakening, and you like cross the other side, you come into oneness, which is what you did. It's such a beautiful example. Yeah, really beautiful example.
yeah, I suppose, yeah, omnipresence.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, gonna have to remember that one more often. There's an exercise for everybody out there. If you're struggling with codependency, just imagine that your partner is just nowhere.
I can also talk into the different forms of control. Like another form of control is especially on medicines, but also on women and each other,
Yeah.
is expectations.
Oh, good one. Expectations. Yeah, let's have a go at that.
Yeah, that I found that really actually I have found it very hurtful
Yes.
because it
Yes.
creates disappointment.
Yeah.
But what I've found, and this is a huge, I want to say, tip for everyone, it's what happens when you surrender control. An expectation is incredible because I remember I had all these expectations of what I wanted to happen, which is a form of control. It's like, no, I wanted this and didn't get there. Because spirit always has something better for you.
Mm.
But because I created that control and I didn't get that exactly what I wanted, even though I got something else, I was disappointed. And so I got
Mm.
upset. And it really stopped me from evolving. And then one day we were releasing control, like a releasing control, like ceremony, spell, whatever you want to say. And I just released all my expectations through coming into my heart, into my body,
Mm.
not knowing that I was actually there, but releasing any expectations. And what I received from spirit defied and destroyed any expectations I had by creating and showing me that my destiny and my purpose is so much greater than the limitations of my mind.
Mm.
Because it showed that through my heart, through my soul, through my body.
Yeah.
And that came through in a feeling and vision simultaneously, to the point where when you can feel something and see something, you're there. When you're thinking about something, it's just a projected imaginational image. You can't feel
Mm.
it. So you can't really be there and feel the truth of it. But with you, when I acknowledged you, when I acknowledged my love for you, our journey started falling into place when we went from friends denying each other's love so long, which is essentially what the collective is doing on an unconscious level,
Mm.
denying each other's love for each other. That's what all this war's about. That we were getting to a point where we were deeply controlled
Mm.
by our own avoidance and denial. But I take full responsibility because you were waiting for me to say yes because you couldn't tell me what you'd
Mm.
seen. And so I was put in a position where and this is important for people who are on the twin flame journey, if they believe they are of the right one, this will help you understand if they are in it or they're not, is that I came to a choice point with you where we were sat opposite each other, and you looked like you were about to die, you were about to give up. And I truly think that you would have died because of the conversations we had. You you were so deeply betrayed so many times, and I was your last hope. I didn't know that at the time, but I could see it. like you, all the color had drained from you, your spirit, like you looked like you were dying. And I got this message from my higher self and some spirit going, tell her, tell her. I was like, tell her what? Tell her that you love her. And I was like, what? You want what? No, I can't do that. Tell her. I was like, no way. Tell her. And I was like, oh no, I have to. Shit, I have to. And I was put in this position. And I remember I said to you, I looked at you and she had her back to the camera so I could just see the back of her head because she was just lost all hope. And I was like, this, essentially my higher self was saying, this is it. This is why she's dying, because you're not acknowledging the love that you have for her, and she knows. I didn't know that, but that's what the message was saying to me. And I remember I said to you, I go, Hazel, and you didn't even reply. You were just like, you were staring into space. You were gone. I was really concerned, and I said, I've got something to tell you. I've been lying to you. And I remember you went, like, you got the energy to move your head and look at me. And I said, yeah, I've been lying to you. I've been lying to you because back, it was November time, and I said to you, back in April, something happened when I was on a call with you. And I didn't tell you because I didn't know what it meant, and I was afraid, and I've been denying it. And it's very distracting that you're writing when I'm saying something so vulnerable. I turned to you and I said, I love you. And the life just came right back to you. The blood filled your lips, your face, your skin, your eyes, and your spirit just started to glow. And this smile came on your face that I've never seen before. And your eyes just lit bright green, and like then all of a sudden I had my phone whenever, because this happened over Zoom. She was living in another country, and I was in my bedroom and had music playing, and like just as I said that, like the reality was like wobbling, like this complete paradigm shift of love, this connection between us. And this song came on. And I'd been going through this whole journey of overcoming, controlling my heart and trying to feel. And I just expressed my love, and this song came on, and I just started singing it, didn't I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. And I was singing at the top of my voice, and the lyrics were just perfect and spot on. And you, like, her top was covered in tears, it was soaking wet. And like my energy was just through the roof. And it changed me. It changed me, expressing my heart in such a big way for the first time, the truth of my heart, expressing love from love instead of expressing love from thought. It was a real admission and a huge sacrifice, a real admission of love and a huge sacrifice of my ego that was essentially running away from you, trying to keep you at distance. Yeah.
I'll just explain my side of the story, like a little bit as a story in the lead up to that as well. Is that I had a vision when I had one of my big spiritual awakenings with a big part of my soul walk-in coming in, I was told very much my another level of my divine purpose here, which is to do with divine union. So I asked Spirit, I said, well, okay, so if I'm in divine union on my own, show me then, show me who is my divine partner. And I saw Alistair in his innate essence, and I saw him in a certain way, and I was like, oh my God. And I asked her, are you sure it's him? It's like, yep. Oh my God, okay. But I had such a strong feeling that I couldn't tell him, because if I had gone, oh, I've had this vision from Spirit that you're my partner, I knew immediately that I would be breaking the soul codes of how our souls would meet. And all of you can't say, well, how did you know that? I know this all through the vibration of the light of love. This is what happens when you have a true spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Because you get attuned to the frequencies of love. And this is what happened.
Yeah, the truth.
Yeah. So what was happening was I was being shown who my divine counterpart was, you. And at the same time, I was being shown, you can't tell him. So I can't remember how many months this was. Is it like 3 or 4 months? Maybe, I don't know.
It was longer.
It was several months anyway. And I knew that even though we were continuing to do this work together, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not him, or everything that we were doing was leading to Spirit showing us, you have got a very important job to be doing together. This is your purpose. It's like the universe was bringing us closer and closer together until that moment of death, essentially, because in that moment,
life, death, rebirth.
Yeah, exactly. I realized, I said to myself, I'm not going any further, because he's not breaking open. He's not choosing for love.
Right.
And if he is not able to choose for love, I will not betray my heart ever again. I made that vow to myself just before I met you, just before you landed on my doorstep. I made that vow that I would never betray my heart ever again. So even when I was shown my divine counterpart by Spirit, even when he was already in my life, I knew that I could not interfere in his choice to meet me in love, even though it was me who was guiding him to his heart. And because I have so much integrity to this path of love, I knew at that moment, before you shared that, I knew that if I was not able to meet in love, and my divine counterpart was not going to meet me, I would not be doing this work. I would not be doing any of my work, because all of my work is about love. You mentioned this, that I go on about love all the time. All of my work, or my whole life work, everything has been about the evolution of consciousness to meet in love. And I saw that it was you who would be able to do that. And yet I couldn't say a word.
Yeah.
I had to wait for you to choose yourself. And that is deep surrender. That is letting go of control.
Yeah. That must have been really hard for you.
It actually made me very strong, because I realized it made me stronger, because before, where unconsciously I gave myself to toxic relationships, I knew now I had the strength. If I tell you this, it's going to trigger toxic behavior. I need to maintain my integrity and my authority and my divinity by protecting my own heart. And love will guide the way. Love will show me. And I was prepared. I'd already lost everything, so I was prepared for any outcome. Yeah. So there's a story of, what were we covering? There's a story of dealing with control and surrendering into the unknown. So have a think about that, everybody. It's a really profound journey. And if you enter into ceremonial life, if you are already on a spiritual journey, if you're already on your evolutionary journey and you're not getting any further, or you're not meeting your divine counterpart, or you're still repeating patterns that are not breaking, get in touch with us, because we have defied all the odds in terms of how a man can meet a woman, let go of control, radically transform. And we are sharing that with people who are ready. So if you're really ready to ride the waves of evolutionary consciousness into really changing your life, get in touch with us and we can see how we can work together. Also, join us in our new portal that we're opening, our new community, the Prophecy Portal, because we are walking this prophecy of love together, believe it or not, my friends. It's not just like, whoa, things are going a bit crazy. This is like, no, humans are evolving and we are doing this together, and it's part of the prophecy of love. So join us in the Prophecy Portal on Patreon. And if you're inspired by our work, please donate to keep us going. This work is daily work, and we're anchoring it in so that we can bring this to you. So we really value support. And is there anything else to add?
No, not really. Did you ask for the Soul Prophecy exhibition donations?
Oh, right, no, haven't quite set that up yet. But yeah, just click on the links below, see whatever lights you up. We really value your support. And yeah, like and subscribe,
Yeah,
please,
and
share.
really appreciate any donations that you can spare for making this come true.
Yeah.
And we have services available on our websites, the sacredrainbowwarrior.com and the sovereignjourney.com and prophecywalkers.com if you want to work with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, lots of love. Bye.
Bye-bye.